To create Azure Databricks Workspace, we have to again click on Create. It will ask for the similar inputs like subscription, resource group. Then you have to provide the name. I would say this is movies. Location I'll keep East US and pricing let us keep it standard. So there are three types: standard, premium, and trial. We will go with the standard one. So here is a summary. We do not want our database in VPN. So the setting for networking is no. Click on create. So Databricks Workspace now created. Click on go to resource. You can alternatively go from the home screen as well. Just click on Databricks. This is our new Databricks Workspace which we created. Click on movies. Click on launch workspace. So similar to Data Factory, it will redirect us to the other URL. So it is East US, which is our location, then Azure Databricks.net. This is Azure Databricks landing page. On this page, there are few shortcuts. We will see those later on. First, let me explain you the main menu, which are on the left side. First, we will go to clusters. As we know how Spark architecture is and how Spark engine works, basically it is nothing but set of nodes. We have to create cluster first. So click on create cluster. As a developer, you may not need to create the clusters because admin team will be taking care of this one. So I'll provide name that Big Brother cluster, and this is my development version. Cluster mode I'll keep standard. High concurrency is another flavor. Generally, standard cluster is used for running the jobs, and high concurrency is for development teams, because there will be multiple teams or multiple developers will be logging in and will be doing the work at the same time. So we'll keep those settings as it is. This is the runtime which you want to choose. So we will choose the latest one, which is stable. That is 6.4. Enable auto scaling, and that I'll explain once we see worker type and driver type. Terminate after these many minutes. So if your cluster is idle for let's say 30 minutes, it will automatically shut down the cluster. Please note that it will not delete the cluster, it will just shut down the machine. Terminate the cluster. We can restart it from this page. Worker type, this is the worker node. We can choose the scale of machine here. We will choose 14 GB, 4 cores, 0.75 dBu. dBu is nothing but Databricks units. This is used for costing. So this is standard DS3 V2 version I will choose. Minimum workers and maximum workers we have to provide. So depending on the load, the maximum workers are provisioned. So minimum workers is the default number of workers. So I will say 1, and maximum workers I will say 4. So when the cluster is up, there will be only one worker node provision. If the load gets increased, the enable auto scaling. If it is on, automatically it will scale up to 4 worker nodes. If I make it off, the maximum worker node will go away. And by default, how many clusters we are setting up, those many workers will get created. Our driver type is a head node, so we'll keep as it is, same as worker. There are additional options as well, which are nothing but configuring the scripts or the commands which execute when the cluster becomes up. In other words, when the cluster starts, at that time these commands get fired. So we'll skip those as of now. Click on create cluster. We can see status here in state column, finding instances for new node, acquiring more instances if necessary. So it is in now process to create a cluster for us. So this is the page where we can start, stop cluster and delete the cluster as well. So the actions are here. Alternatively, we can click on the cluster and we can terminate, restart, start from this page also. While it creates cluster, let me navigate to other options. Click on Workspace. So this is the workspace where all users will get listed from your organization, and each one will have his or her own folder. Since I am the only one here, my username is visible and there is nothing. So I clicked on my username and I will create a notebook. So while creating a notebook, it will ask the name. I will say my first notebook. It will ask for in which language you want to write the script. There are 4 languages supported: Python, Scala, SQL, and R. I'll choose Python, and this is my cluster. Click on create. We will see detailed insights of notebook later on. Let us finish the left side menu first. So in Workspace, we manage the notebooks and libraries at the user level. Recent is whatever the recent notebooks you have browsed, you can browse through recent menu. Click on data. Since there is no cluster created, it is showing an error. We can create database similar to a database we create in any RDBMS system, that is SQL Server or Oracle, and then inside that we can have tables. We can also add data by directly uploading the files. Jobs, we can schedule our notebooks and execute those at a specified time. So let's say first job, and in schedule we can say maybe every day, this is particular time, 6 AM I want to run it. Since we are going to learn how to schedule Databricks notebook through Data Factory, we will not be focusing on this job section. Search is a typical search where you can search for any specific notebook or library in this workspace. Home is by default your home directory. We'll go back to clusters and see if the cluster is created or not. It is still looking for new nodes. Let us wait till it creates the cluster. Cluster is now created, and that's why we are seeing this green icon here, and it says it is running. We'll go back to Workspace and open our notebook. Print my name Karthik. Notebook, we will going to see what is notebook and what are the properties and functionalities of notebook. But for the time being, we will just run this command. So when I want to run this command, it will ask me where you want to run this command. Let's say I click on run all. It will ask me where you want to run it. So basically, there is only one cluster, so it is suggesting me to attach my notebook to this cluster. So I'll click attach and run. My name Karthik got printed here. This is overall how you manage users and notebooks in the Databricks workspace. Now we are going to see what is notebook, what are the functionalities of notebook, and what we can do with the notebook.